Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 7, and this episode, of course, picks up the events of last week's episode, where the big reveal wasn't much of a big reveal because everybody spoiled it, but the big reveal was it was FX. It is the DC Universe's version of what happened if the Germans won World War II. And that's the big reveal. Even though, I won't lie, it is kind of funny how oblivious Peacemaker was that he never picked it up. Yeah, never picked up the Nazi books, didn't pick up the massive Hitler memorial on a wall, and he never picked it up. It's like, hey, this Earth might be FX. This Earth might be a Nazi Earth. But there's a little bit of humor there. But this episode, look, the whole story of this episode is get out of here. Get out of this dimension. Get out, and never come back. That's mainly the story. That's the story of this episode. And the thing is, like, I get the concept of, like, wanting to dive deep more into it. Like, trying to get, like, really deep dive and really, like, dig it in and do something with the concept of a whole planet that has fascist views. Okay. That's something to explore. And we get told it's a terrible place. We get told what happens in this world, like what happens to people of color, because last week Keith says the words "one guy out." Well, what does one guy out mean? It means apparently they are in their own little camps and are forced to work for everyone else. Mentioning how messed up it is. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's a situation of telling, not showing. Because if you show it, maybe it will. There's a risk of divinering the audience a bit, where when it's like too much of a terrible thing, too much, and all that. Because let's be honest, a fashion society is not a place that nobody should ever want to live in. So if you dive into it, but I get it, but I think it's just a situation of like, you don't want to piss anyone off. You know what I mean? But I think it's enough for people to think. I think it's enough for people to think about, is this a world we want to live in? And if the answer is no, how can we prevent that from happening? Because there are people out there who really think FX is like is utopia, sadly. So I just want to put it out there. But the whole episode is all about get back to Earth 1, get back to Earth 1, get back to Earth 1. And with these little moments out through. And the one thing I also appreciate is, like, look, as I think as most of us would be happy if, like, this episode was, like, gore fest, or, gore fest galore. Like, because, Nazis, we'd love to see Nazis getting killed in very gruesome ways, and, let it turn into Sisu. Let it turn into Sisu, and Glorious Bastards. Let's just turn into that, right? Well, but what this episode does is kind of to explore people who might not agree with the views, doesn't believe in the fascist views, like Peacemaker's dad, which I thought, okay, that's a way to get into some like humanity aspects to it, where sometimes. Yeah, and it's also kind of does the whole commentary of, like, people who sit there doing nothing, but is not happy how the world works, how the world is, and you got people out there, maybe not agree with the methods, but, you got the Sons of Liberty who are the ones who are like, the world needs to change, and maybe sometimes it is a very adult conversation about the concept of, it is a very adult conversation talking about the concept of, like, no one really changed the world doing things illegally. Yeah. It's It is a thing like that, and I'm not endoming it for a lot. I'm not endoming what the Sons of Liberty in the context of the show does, but it is kind of like it is kind of a fucked up thing about that. Anyway, so sometimes the white thing might not be the actual white thing to do. You know, so it's that weird messed up thing. Um, but and you got some really good scenes between Agabaro and Jujura Master. Yeah, how these two characters just bonding. They just and have their differences aside, and it's kind of nice to have Jujura Master be more in a conversation with someone versus just saying nothing but insult after insult after insult after insult. It's nice that these these two Jujura Master's able to do a little bit more than that, than what they were in series one, and what they were most of the season. You also got the stuff at the end, which clearly is hinting towards the final episode, which is dealing with. It'll be interesting with the final episode because apparently we're going to get a big ass cameo. Apparently, it's going to lean to it. It's leading up to the next Superman movie, Man Tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting with what's going to happen next week. What's going to happen in that final episode. But the stuff at the end, yes, you get this neat action sequence with Vigilante taking out more Nazi cops. You have a really well done choreographed fight, but at the core of it, you also have the scene where Peacemaker, Christopher Smith, is like, maybe I'm the curse. I fucked up two worlds. And everyone I touch, everyone I love dies right from me because of me. Maybe it's just time to put the handcuffs on me and just go. Maybe that's the best way to... If I can't find happiness, and everything's getting stripped away from me, maybe it's the way... Maybe jail is... Maybe prison is the way... Is the right path for me. And it is kind of a very dramatic moment in the character. So also John Cena's performance. I mean, this season is like making us all go, shit, Cena has proved as an actor. I say we no longer saw him as a serious actor, but now we have. And it's just like last week with the scene between Peacemaker and Harcourt, where she screams that I'm a fucking nightmare, when Peacemaker says I don't care, I still love you. It's you got that, you got in this scene where when Christopher is crying over Keith, who has found out the truth, and while Augie, Peacemaker's dad is like very acceptable and say, hey, everything was an accident. I understand why you did what you did, why you took you came here and lived Peacemaker 2's life and all that, but you need to go back. You need to go back to your dimension and never come back. And that's the way. But Keith is like, vengeance, 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 you kill my brother, you kill my brother, you kill my brother, you kill my brother, and also, probably add to that, he killed his dad. It's basically, my world crumbled because of you. And that, it is also interesting to see, maybe it is hinting at a supervillain thing, maybe it is hinting next week we're going to get round 2, and maybe it's a way for him letting go, having Christopher letting go of his trauma. Because he's trying to run away from his trauma. He's trying to move away, but it keeps dangling in his mind. It keeps dangling in the piece of keys of his mind, and that annoys. That makes him do not many smart things. Him being depressed that he was in episode 1, and where nothing worked. Normally, alcohol and drugs and orgies would normally work, but he's that depressed, nothing works. So it's to the point you go to another dimension where it seems everything's fine, but no, it isn't. The grass there isn't greener on the other side, and it's just a real. I like this episode, and oddly enough, it's 33 minutes, and I was like, come on, 33 minutes. We need to explore more of this Earth. We need to explore more of it. But no, 33 minutes seems to. It could also be a situation where it's a simple, Earth X, it being Nazi Earth. Yeah, it's a terrible thing, but it's not as the importance. The importance is the characters. Follow the characters along, and that's what it is. That's what to explore more than make it more character driven than plot driven. And that. But apparently, next week's going to be a very longer episode than a 40 minute episode. Might get to full 50, I guess. Maybe a little bit over an hour long episode. But yeah, I like this episode. I liked it. So oddly enough, some humor moments, some really humorous moments. There was something that Vigilante said. I was like, "Come on, dude, come on!" But I couldn't. But I will say this: the one thing am a little bit disappointed over is that we have the Peacemaker or the Peace Cycle that has a rocket, and we never saw rockets getting shoot. We never saw him using it. This is a little bit that's a little bit disappointing. But anyway, comment below, let me know your thoughts of this episode.